you. So I send him a screenshot of the text messages so that way he also doesn't think that I'm lying to him. And he goes, that's really sus. I think something else is going on. Like, who all's gonna be there? Are there gonna be a bunch of guys there? Do you really just want to hang out with a bunch of guys? Like, this is just showing how insecure he is. And I told him that it's gonna be girls and guys there, not just guys, girls and guys. And then he sent me a picture of him in his car driving, saying, I'm gonna end it all right now. So then I call Rachel and I tell her I can't go. And then after that, I told my stepmom about the situation, and she told me that I should break up with him because it was a really unhealthy relationship / situation, which obviously I already knew that, but I low-key wanted a second opinion. So I text him and I'm like, hey, I think our relationship is super unhealthy. I think you depend on me too much. It makes me feel uncomfortable whenever you talk about hurting yourself, whenever I don't do what you want or you don't get your way. I'm tired of not being able to hang out with my friends unless you're there because you accuse me of doing shit whenever you're not there, even though I've never given you a reason to ever think that I would cheat on you. Also, you get super jealous super easily, like not everything is about you. I kind of went in on him and low-key tore him a new asshole because I had held all of that in for so long, and I never, you know, said anything because I never wanted him to feel bad. But yeah, at the end of that message, I put in there that I was blocking him so that way he would not try to manipulate me into staying with him, which he did not like that one bit, because then he started calling my stepmom and my dad, which sure, my dad liked Justin, but he didn't like him enough to force me to have a relationship with him, because my dad still didn't want me having a fucking relationship in the first place. Fast forward a month, I'm talking to him, we're dating again, the cycle repeats itself, and we only started dating for about 2 months at that point. So yeah, 2 months in, I tell him that I can't do this anymore, and I left it at that. Well, fast forward to spring break. Valeria, Paige, and I decide that we are all going to go to Ocean City for spring break. And while we were down there, we met these seniors who go to our school. And you know, we started hanging out with them. And then the one night we ended up going back to their hotel, and Valeria ended up sleeping with one of the guys, and so did I. And Paige ended up sleeping with 2 guys. So period, YOLO sis. And then we actually ended up spending the whole rest of that week with the seniors. And whenever we got home, the one guy that I had been hooking up with down there, Bob, him and I had like a little situationship going on. We would hook up every now and then, but then also we would like hang out, go do fun things together. Whatever we were, I was satisfied with whatever we were, you know? Well, Justin ended up hearing through the grapevine what happened in Ocean City, and to say that he was upset about this would be an understatement. So all of a sudden I get bombarded with a bunch of text messages and voicemails and messages on all different social media apps from Justin talking about how I cheated on him and I'm a slut and I'll hook up with anybody, which we literally had been broken up for a week. No communication or anything, bud. What are you talking about? You're fucking delusional. And I told him that, and he was like, yeah, but you never said we are broken up. You said you're done. That could mean a whole bunch of things. He was like, why do you think I didn't talk to you for a week? It's because I was giving you your space and your time. And throughout Justin and I's relationship, he literally made me his lifeline, like I said earlier. So he really didn't have any friends. He didn't have any hobbies. He didn't have anything. Like, the only thing that he had realistically was people clowning him because he was so obsessed with me, which is sad. But anyways, after that, he was being bitter and spreading rumors about Bob and I, saying that I cheated on him and how I probably have an STD, even though everybody knew that I didn't have an STD or cheat on him. And Bob definitely did not like these rumors that Justin was spreading around, so he took matters into his own hands. And the one night after the school's football game, Justin was waiting at his car for his friends, and Bob saw him So he went over to him and he pretty much like grabbed him by the shirt like this. And he was like, listen dude, I don't care if you spread rumors about me, but if you keep spreading rumors about her, I will kick your ass. So that ended up being enough for Justin to stop spreading the rumors. So that was period. But he would still try to call and text me off of different numbers. Like, I'm pretty sure that in total I blocked like 10 different phone numbers. But a month after this, Justin had gotten all of his friends back and he started playing basketball again. I was actually really happy for him that he was doing good, you know? Because I didn't want to be the reason why his life was like trash. And eventually Bob and I stopped talking. He was a senior, he was going to be going off to college, you know, and we really liked each other, but it wasn't worth the hassle of having a long distance relationship. Also because I don't know any guy that wants to be held down in a relationship while he goes off to college in another state. So Valeria and I are starting to go to a lot more parties than we did before, because Valeria and I, since we're friends with Bob and his friends, we would go to the parties that were being thrown by the seniors, and there were very select few underclassmen that would go to these parties, but Valeria, Paige, and I made sure to become friends with all of the senior girls, because if you were friends with them, then you pretty much had nothing to worry about, as long as you, one, weren't getting with any guys that they liked or taking the attention away from them. You were good. So, you know, I hadn't heard anything from Justin in a while, and I'm hanging out at this party and I run into Justin's best friend, who is very, 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 very good looking. And I felt like I didn't really owe Justin any loyalty because we've been broken up. So, you know, eventually one thing leads to another and we end up back at Justin's best friend's house and we did the nasty, which I completely regret now, because the next day, Bob and I, literally the next fucking day, Bob came to my house to talk to me and he was like, hey, like, I was wrong for what I said. I really like you and I really want to see where things will go with us. He was like, I don't care if I have to be in a relationship during college. He was like, that doesn't matter to me. So do you guys remember how I told you that we were like low-key in a situationship last time that him and I were fucking with each other? This time he actually asked me out, so I was super happy and I was super excited, because like I 100,000,000% acted as nonchalant as I could when we had the first conversation about him going to college and him being single there and, you know, doing what he wanted to do. But low-key I was heartbroken. No, but obviously Bobby and I, you know, are participating in sexual activities. And I want to say a day or two after we did the nasty, right after we first got together, he was telling me that he thought he had crabs. It's pubic lice. I never heard of it before. I don't ever want to hear of it again. But he pretty much said this because he was super itchy down there, right? So we looked up what to do and we found this one website that said, shave your pubic hair and then wash it with shampoo. Well, that'll get rid of them. No, it won't. That wasn't true. So you literally did all of that shit for nothing. And it said that it would take a week for it to work and for the crabs to go away. But because we only checked one website, you know, we didn't check any other ones, we definitely thought that this remedy was gonna work. And it was the only way that you really didn't have to go and like buy specific shit for it. It was like home remedy stuff. But in the next week, I was having a burning and itching sensation down there also, and I was extremely worried because Bobby said that his wasn't feeling better at all. And Justin's best friend and I were super drunk that night, and I don't remember if we used a condom or not. So I decided that I would ask Valeria if her and her sister could come and get me and take me to go and get tested. So, you know, they pick me up and we go to Planned Parenthood, and a few days later I get a positive test result for an STD that is not curable, but they have medication for. So now I'm panicking and I want to blame it on Bobby, but I have a gut feeling that it wasn't him who gave it to me. And I'm literally like freaking out about telling him that I have this STD. So, you know, I take my time before I tell him. And also I try to figure out how to fucking tell him. But in the end, I should have just told him, because of course he's in one of his classes with one of his best friends who just so happened to be at the party that night, and he's telling him about all the symptoms that he's having, and he's like, well, you know, your girl slept with Justin's best friend, right? And Bobby was like, okay, what does that have to do with anything? Like, that was while we weren't together. And then his best friend is like, No, I'm talking about the kid that she slept with has literally had an STD since 8th grade. So Bob told me to meet him at his car after school, and I meet him at his car and we get in and he's like, so why didn't you tell me that you had an STD? And I must look like I had just seen a fucking ghost, because I really did not expect him to find out literally a day after I did, whenever he didn't even suspect that he had an STD. So, you know, he's like, please don't play stupid. I knew you slept with Justin's best friend at the party that one night. And I was like, whoa, 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 whoa. First of all, we weren't even together. And then he's like, it's not about that, you fucking asshole. He was like, it's about the fact that that kid's literally had an STD since he was in 8th grade. So, not really a surprise, but kind of a surprise. He breaks up with me. And I was low-key surprised because, like, if we both already have the disease, why wouldn't we just stay together? Make it make sense. Anyway, so the whole school pretty much finds out, right? And after that, I find out that Justin paid his best friend to sleep with me that night. Literally because he still thinks that I cheated on him. Yeah. And I have not been with anybody since I've been diagnosed, which was like 3 years ago, because I am absolutely terrified to tell anyone that I have an STD, let alone somebody that I really have feelings for, because I'm afraid of how that conversation might go and the rejection and just like the disgust on somebody's face whenever I tell them that I have an STD. And not to mention, all throughout high school, after that, nobody wanted to be near me. People were calling me mean names, and yeah, it sucked really bad. And I couldn't wait to go to college and get away from all that shit so nobody knew me as the girl who had an STD. But I guess you could say that Justin got karma, because Justin moved to a different school to play basketball because he actually ended up being really good. Too good for our school, to be honest. And he got offered a D1 scholarship, but the one night he was taking the trash out and there was a drunk driver in his neighborhood going a decent enough speed to hit him and break both of his legs, but not kill him. Well, it was either they broke both of his legs or he got paralyzed. It was one of the two, but that's besides the point. He didn't go to college for D1 basketball, so So all I can really say is karma's a bitch.